All right, good morning. Here we are going into Plato course Integrated Math 1, Semester A. I am logged in as my student learner account, just as my class students would. Notice that I am slightly off pace in this class. I'm looking at, I have completed 2 assignments. I am 2 activities making me slightly off pace. So my goal today is to complete those 2 activities. I will do that in 2 videos. This first one will be working with multiplying monomials. Notice that the due date is red, or the target date is red. That means I should have done that earlier in the week. It is imperative that we stay caught up. Due by the end of today, October 13th, is dividing monomials. So let's get into it so we can get caught up and be on pace. We have the multiplying monomials tutorial and multiplying monomials application, then the mastery test. Let's get into it. This is the same intro each time. I'm going to skip that for time. Multiplying monomials tutorial. Before we begin, if you do not already have a set of notes in Google Docs, I recommend that you open up a new Google tab, go to the Google Apps icon, and start a new document. I believe I already have one from yesterday. Let's check it out. So accelerate integrated math notes right there. There we go. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. So now I have a spot where I can drop my questions, my notes. Remember from the previous 2 tutorials, monomial is an expression, like a phrase, if you will, that has exactly 1 term. So negative 5x is 1 term, 23x 2y is a term, a2b2 is a single term. A binomial is an expression that has exactly 2 terms. Bi as in bicycle, 2 wheels. So notice that this is 1 term, negative 5x, plus 2y, the second term. 1 term, 3a2, the second term, a2. Polynomials may be classified by the number of terms they contain. So there might be 3 terms. There might be 4 terms. The coefficient or numerical coefficient is the number in the term. So negative 5 is the numerical coefficient. The 2 is the numerical coefficient in that term. To simplify an expression, you need to combine like terms. Like terms are terms that have the same variable raised to the same exponents. For example, 3x plus 2y cannot be written as a monomial, a single term, because the variables x and y are different. You can say I have 3 apples and 2 oranges, but you cannot combine them to say I have 5 apple oranges. I hope that makes sense. Moving on. as I go through the tutorials, I like to copy down the rules and paste them in to this guided notes that I am creating with the process as I go along. So that way I have a way to look back at some of these things. I'm not so much worried about making sure everything is spell checked and correct. Often I will copy and paste because then it's the most likely to be accurate. Okay, so that's where we left off today. Now we're doing multiplying monomials. I will definitely stop this tutorial as we go to discuss a phenomenon that kind of is difficult to grasp. And so when we get there, know that that's going to happen. All right, let's go. We have 28 more slides to go. I'm going to try to use the text to speech with the click to speak because I love the way it highlights it. However, some of these math lessons do not read the text on the screen because it's like an image. So I have to read it. Bear with me. One monomial multiplied by another monomial. This activity will show you how it's done. And there's a picture of a dolphin. How random.
One monomial multiplied by another monomial. This activity will show you how it's done.
So the click to speech doesn't work for this one, but the play button does.
In this activity, you will study how to multiply monomials. Polynomials that contain one term are called monomials.
So notice the 3 dots. That means I have to click here and go to the
Two
next slide.
monomials with like terms, those that have the same variables raised to the same exponents, can be added or subtracted to simplify an expression. The sum or difference of two monomials with like terms is a monomial.
So the sum or difference. The sum or difference. The sum, oops. The sum equals answer to addition problem. The difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. Okay, so the sum is the answer to an addition problem. The difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. 1 plus 2, the sum is 3. 2 minus 1, the difference is 1. That is important to know those terms because on the mastery test, it might say, find the sum of these two monomials. It's a simple, easy thing to not know what that means.
To add or subtract monomials, add or subtract the coefficients of like terms. Click each bubble to simplify the expression.
Simplify simply means to make it easier to understand. We wouldn't say I have $5 and $4. You would say I have $9. So 5 plus 4 times x equals 9x. 4y squared minus 3y squared. Notice that the terms are like, they have the same variables and the same exponents. So you can combine them. 4 minus 3 multiplied by y squared equals y squared. Why? Because 4 minus 3 equals 1. You could write a 1 in front of this y and it would be accurate, but it's considered redundant. It's as if you said, I have an apple versus I have a one apple. We don't say one apple. I have one apple. We say I have an apple. So that's why there is no 1 there. 1 times 1 is 1. So it doesn't make sense. So you don't have to put a 1 in front of that. It's to even make it even more simpler.
Just as we can add or subtract monomials, we can also multiply them.
So this is where I want to address a concern or clarify something. The answer to a multiplication problem is called the product. The product, I could write it down here. Product equals answer to multiplication problem. Now, here's when I want to address something real quick. The answer to a multiplication problem is the product. When we multiply, we are finding out how much in all. So, if you read it as a sentence, there are 3 groups of x's multiplied by 5 groups of x's. Multiplication answers a question, like the sum. How much, when you add this to this, do you get? Subtraction. What is the difference between this number and this number? Multiplication says, I have a number of items and a number of groups. So there are a number of items in each group. The answer to a multiplication, or the product, is how many in all. When we think about that as how many in all is the product, how much did you produce in total, that helps us understand a concept later that I'm going to talk about when it comes to multiplying negative numbers, because I want to clear that up for you so you don't get them wrong on the test. Okay, so let's move on. That shows what's called the distributive property. Let's see that again. So it's this 3x times 5x is the same as 3 times x times 5 times x. So 3 times 5 times x times x. 15, 2 x's. What's 1 plus 1? 15x squared. That is called the distributive property. You distribute the 3, the x, the 5, the x, and you kind of break it all into its parts. You put the parts together that you can do the maths with. You put the other parts together. So we end up 3x multiplied by 5x equals 15x squared.
When we multiply monomials, the variables and the exponents of the variables do not need to be the same. If the variables are the same, we use the product rule for exponents when multiplying.
Wow. That's good to know. When we multiply, let's make that so we can read it now. Come on. When we multiply monomials, the variables and the exponents of the variables do not need to be the same. If the variables are the same, we use the product rule for exponents when multiplying. You know, I bet you dollars to donuts we're going to learn what the product rule for exponents is. Since I don't know what that is off the top of my head, I'm going to put that down here and make a little note.
The product rule allows us to add the exponents when we multiply the variables. Here's the product rule. b squared times b to the 5th equals b to the sum of 2 and 5, which equals b to the 7th.
Okay. Trying to highlight all that. Come on. Now, why would it not highlight this part? Okay, so let's get what we can and know that I'm going to have to come back and fix some stuff. Oh, really? Okay, that's most of it. All right. So put that on my, oh, did I hit copy? Copy. And colon, Control V. Uh-oh, that's hard to read. Let's make that bigger. Product rule 3x. Oh no. Okay, so we got product rule. I'm going to copy this. Too many crickets. This isn't supposed to be the difficult part of this process. Okay, so product rule. I need to copy that part and put that right here. And then because da 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 equals da 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 da. Okay, because do 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 do. I think that one goes there, and that one goes there. Okay, does that look right? Let's see. Because b da 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 equals da 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 b to the 7. Okay, this is supposed to be an exponent. I don't know how to make that an exponent on here. So I am going to go like this and go like this and say exponents. Okay. 7. Oops. 7 is the exponent. Okay. So, all right, product rule. There we go. This is part of why some of these tutorials take so long and you have to put in 4 hours per day, folks. Okay, so the product rule is that if the variables are the same, we can add the exponents. So b squared multiplied by b to the 5th power is the same as saying b times b. So b squared is b times b. If you don't know that squared means multiplied by itself, so that's the two, a b and a b squared. Now, b to the 5th power is b, 1b, 2b, 3b, 4b, 5b. It's not 5b's though, it is b times b times b times b times b, or also said b multiplied by b multiplied by b multiplied by b multiplied by b. Hence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 b's multiplied by each other. Exponents. If you have questions about exponents, please don't hesitate to ask.
Using the product rule, we can write b times b as b to the 1st times b to the 1st. Click each bubble to simplify the expression.
B to the 1st plus b to the 1st equals b to the 2nd. So it's showing that you can add the 2 and the 3 exponents to make y to the 5th. A to the 2nd. This is implied that there's a 1 here, like we talked about with the 1 in front of a letter, and then the 3. So it adds up to 6.
Here are a few problems for you to solve.
All right, so it wants us to simplify x squared multiplied by, that dot right there means multiplied by x to the 4th. So we know that the variables are the same, therefore we can use the product rule for exponents and add the exponent 2 plus the exponent 4. Now, remember from other lessons, we have to do this exponent button or it will be written incorrectly. So, x to the exponent 6. Am I right? Yeah, great. If I got it wrong, or I just want to double check, how did I get that right? It says the answer is x to the 6th power. Multiply the variables that are alike by adding the exponents. And that breaks it down, it shows you. In this one, it says 3y to the 3rd multiplied by 1y. Notice there's not a 1 there, but that's implied. Y to the 2nd. So we are going to use the 3 that is here. 3 multiplied by 1 is 3, so that stays 3. And then we're going to use the product rule for exponents and add the 2 exponents. I have to push the exponent button. 3 plus 2 is 5. Let's see if we got it right. No. Apply the product rule for exponents. Add the exponents of y. Uh-oh, what did I forget? I forgot, and I have to push the down button, the y. There we go. Now let's hit done. Great. I forgot to put the variable there, the y. My mistake, no big deal. Moving on.
When we multiply monomials that have different variables, the product is given in factored form.
The product is given in factor form. Oh boy. I don't know that term. I'm copying and pasting that term into my notes. What the heck is factored form? So, because we cannot combine when they are unlike terms, in this case, the t and the y are different. They are not alike. So t multiplied by y is the same as ty. T squared multiplied by y to the third is the same as t squared y third. Essentially, what we are doing is, out of simplification reasons, eliminating the multiplication symbol and combining them. A multiplied by b squared multiplied by c. Now we get into what some of you are looking at is PEMDAS. What do you do first kind of a thing? So if we read this straight across, a multiplied by b squared becomes a multiplied by b squared, and then we multiply the c by putting it on there. So this still reads the same as this. It may not look simpler, but believe it or not, somebody in the algebra world said this is simpler. It's simplified.
The monomials x squared y and xy have the same variables, but different exponents. Here's their product.
Okay, so x has a different exponent in this one multiplied by that one. So see how they switched those? That way you can compare or multiply like terms. So x squared, or x to the exponent 2 multiplied by x, becomes x with the exponent rule followed of adding the exponents. Then y, because there's a y here, multiplied by the y here, becomes y multiplied, y multiplied by y, which becomes y exponent 1 plus exponent 1. So essentially, you are combining like terms to do the multiplication. So it ends up being x to the third multiplied by y to the second, which then can be written as x to the third y to the second, because we can eliminate the multiplication symbol because it's implied that they're multiplied when they're next to each other. That's what I just said. Great.
Now you try a few.
All right, let's try a few. Write the product in its simplest form. So the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. We may not solve for A or B, but we can write the problem in a simpler form. So we have A3 multiplied by B squared. Those are not like variables nor like exponents. So I believe I'm guessing that it's a to the third power, b, not up there, push the down arrow, b, then exponent squared. So all I am doing essentially is eliminating that multiplication symbol up there. It is simpler, more simple, because we eliminated the multiplication symbol. I know that's weird, but that's what's going on. And if the variables are not the same, give the product in factored form. So this is factored form. Factored form. It didn't ask for factored form, but that is what that is. Okay, great. Write the product in its simplest form. X3, Y2 multiplied by XY. So this is where I am going to use my handy dandy paper, and I'm going to write X to the third, Y squared, multiplication symbol, XY. And then I'm going to do an equal sign and distribute. So I'm going to do X3, X to the third power, multiplied by the X that is next to the Y, multiplied by Y squared, multiplied by a single Y. So what I have done to simplify this is actually break it open into the different parts. So X cubed multiplied by Y squared multiplied by XY becomes X to the third multiplied by X multiplied by Y to the second power, or Y squared multiplied by Y. Then to continue to simplify, I'm going to use the exponent rule. X exponent 3 plus exponent 1 from the single X multiplied by Y squared, or Y to the second power, plus 1. Then I'm going to do that easy math. X3 plus 1 is X to the fourth. I'm going to go ahead and just eliminate the multiplication symbol and put Y, and the exponents 2 plus 1 equals 3. So I believe the simplified answer, I'm circling it on my paper, is X to the exponent 4, Y, I do that every time. Go down, push the down arrow to get it back down to the regular level there. Y, and then exponent 3. So to simplify all of this is to say that there are X's to the fourth power multiplied by Y's to the third power. Each of these parts are accounted for in this. Let's see. Great, I got the correct answer. Look at these examples if it doesn't really totally make sense. But this right here is what I did on my paper. I wrote this out on my paper. If you don't get the right answer and you look at the sample answer, write it down. The writing it down is super helpful. Okay, here's a rule.
To multiply monomials, multiply the coefficients and then multiply the variables. For example, find the product of negative 3a and 2a squared.
Before I do that, I'm going to copy that rule. I'm going to put a couple of marks right there so I remember to go back and answer what that is. Okay. I'm going to undo that. Paste without formatting. Okay, so rule. To multiply monomials, multiply the coefficients. Remember, that's the number. And then multiply the variables. That's the letter. All right. I need to do something real quick. Okay, we are back. All right, so the rule: to multiply monomials, multiply the coefficients, that's the number, and then multiply the variables, that's the letters. For example, to find the product of negative 3a and 2a squared, we do the work. See how those parts came out? This is why you need paper and pencil to work this stuff out, folks.
Therefore, negative 3a times 2a squared equals negative 6a cubed.
Wow, that was pretty cool. I definitely recommend you pause that, write it down, make sure you understand it. If not, ask questions.
To find the product of negative 4a squared b and negative 2abc,
Distribute, combine, combine. So notice all those steps.
to find the product,
So you have to break it all apart, put the terms together, combine the terms, simplify it. That's a lot of steps. That's why you need scratch paper. You can't be expecting yourself to do this in your head.
here are some problems for you to try.
Okay, so again, I have to write them down. I'm going to go through it quickly on my paper and then show you the answer so that way you can see the steps on the screen. So 7x times 6x equals 7 times 6 times x times x. Then 7 times 6 is what? 7 times 6 is a little more than 36, 42. Double check if you need to. And then x times x is x to the second power. We do that by doing 1 plus 1. So we should end up with 42x squared. If I'm wrong, that's okay. That just means I didn't fully understand it. Exponent 2. Done. I got the answer correct. How? Like this. Multiply the coefficients. The coefficients are the numbers. So 7 multiplied by 6 is 42. Then multiply the variables. X multiplied by x is the same as x to the first power plus x to the first power, which is 2. So exponent 2. It's the same as saying x times x, or x squared. That's exactly what this is. So 42x squared, I got the correct answer. Now we can move on. Write the product in its simplest form. A multiplied by negative 2b. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. A multiplied, parentheses, negative 2b. So what can I do there? It looks like I cannot multiply those two because the variables are different. So I believe that the answer would be negative 2ab. Remember how I said we were going to get into something that makes it really confusing? Well, this is where the multiplication of negative numbers comes in, and I hope to clear that up soon. I believe the answer is negative 2b and, 2ab. Done. Great, I got the correct answer. How did I do that? So multiply the coefficients. There's only one coefficient, so negative 2. There's a 1 there, but 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Multiply the coefficients. We did that. Then multiply the variables. A to the first power multiplied by b to the first power. Notice that there's no 1 there. That's because it's implied. Equals a multiplied by b. A multiplied by b. So we put them together. Negative 2ab. So the reason why a positive times a negative is a negative is because, think of it this way. I have 1 day a week, or for every 1 day a week, I owe $2. My bank account at the end is negative $2. In 5 days, at negative $2 per day, my bank account is negative $10. The answer helps you decide, or sorry, the way the problem is set up helps you decide if it's going to be a negative or positive. Multiplication answers how many is in a group, how many groups are there, and how many in all. So if there are groups of negative 2, how many negative 2s are there in all? Or how many in all are negative? I know it's confusing. I'll try to explain more later. I want to continue so I don't get you off track and the video is not stupid long. Okay, here we go. So I got that correct. Write the product in its simplest form. So on my paper, I'm writing down negative 2c squared multiplication dot parentheses negative 3c. I say it out loud to make sure I write it down correctly. Part of answering the question correctly is making sure you write down the problem correctly. Okay, so first, what was the direction? Combine or multiply the coefficients. So equals -2 multiplied by -3. Now, how is a negative multiplied by a negative a positive? Oh boy. I wish I could write on the screen right here and show you. Well, maybe I can. No? Highlighter. I don't think I can highlight things that aren't on here. Okay. So let's look at it this way. The answer to a multiplication problem answers how many in all. So I have -2 multiplied by -3, and the answer is in all. So check this out. The way I think about it is for the last 2 weeks, I can't highlight this, but for the last 2 weeks, -2 weeks, last, in the past, negative, they're gone, they're in the past. The last 2 weeks, negative. I had to spend per week $3. So I had -3 come out of my bank account each week. So normally you would say 2 times 3 is 6. But in this case, normally you would say 2 times 3 is 6. Well, that's very similar here in that if I had to, for the last 2 weeks, spend $3 out of my account, so I was minus $3 out of my account for each week, how much money came out of my account? $6. So a -2 multiplied by a -3 is a +6. What? Yes. Let's see if they help make that any clearer. So 6. So -2 times -3 is a +6. Let's double check that on calculator soup. General math, basic calculator. What was it? 2 negative multiplied by 3 negative equals 6. When in doubt, figure it out. Use these calculators for this stuff. The worst thing to do is to get an answer wrong because you didn't use a calculator and getting a simple multiplication problem correct. So a negative multiplied by a negative is always a positive answer. A negative multiplied by a negative is always a positive answer. Why? Essentially because multiplication answers the question, if I have this many in a group and this many groups, how many do I have in all? If I owe -$2 every 3 weeks, I owe a total of $6. Yes, that is -$6 out of my account, but that's a different question. Ugh, bear with me. So 6. Then I have to multiply the variable. So I do that by using that product exponent rule. So c squared plus c to the first power, because there's no exponent there, is 3. So that ends up being c to the third power, or c cubed. So then we end up with 6c cubed. Exponent button, 3, done. I got it correct. Here's how they solve it. -2 times -3 equals 6. See, I wasn't making this up. Write the product in its simplest form, -3y4 multiplied by 3y4. So again, write it down on my scratch paper. -3y4 multiplied by 3y4. So first we are going to multiply, or sorry, write out the multiplication of the coefficients. So -3 multiplied by 3. And then we write out the variables, y4 multiplied by y4. So we're going to add those exponents later. So a -3 times a +3. A negative times a positive is going to be negative. Remember, I have -3 in a group multiplied by 3 groups. So how many -3s do I have? I have 3 -3s. 3 -3s is -3 plus -3 plus -3 equals -9. So the way I word that in my head is I owe $3 for the next 3 weeks. How much money will I pay, or how much will come out of my bank account after 3 weeks? -$9. So -9, and then we add the exponents for the variables. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Y exponent 8. Done. I got the answer correct. Let's look at it. So the -3 plus the 3, or sorry, -3 multiplied by 3 is -9. The y to the 4th multiplied by y to the 4th, we do the product of exponents and we add those exponents, put it together, -9y8. That's the answer. Okay, let's move on.
Polynomials that contain only one term are called monomials. Just as monomials can be added and subtracted, they can also be multiplied. If the variables are the same, multiply the coefficients first. Then multiply the variables by adding the exponents. If the variables are different, give the answer in factored form.
So we didn't really cover that factored form, but I would say think of it as simplified, to where the factors, the two numbers that are multiplied together, are just next to each other. I hope that makes sense. I'll investigate more later. So let's try a few questions. Do these. This is valuable work, folks. All right. Again, I'm flipping over my scratch paper. Actually, I'm throwing that one away because I am done with it. Okay. New piece of paper. All right, let's go. Negative 2a 5 to the 5th power multiplied by 7a to the 6th power. So we do the coefficients first. Break it down. So negative 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by a to the 5th multiplied by a to the 6th. So we've broken it down. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. If I subtract $2 every day of the week, I will have subtracted $14. Best I can explain it. A to the 5th, we do the product rule. 5 plus 6 is 11. So the answer should be negative 14a to the 11th power. Negative 14a to the 11th power. Done. Great, I got it right. This goes through the steps that I did on paper. If you don't get the answer right, check it and still write down the steps. That's valuable work, folks. Valuable work. Doing these practices in the tutorial will help you on the test. Make sure you understand what it's asking so that way you can work it out correctly. Write the product in its simplest form. I wonder if I can do this in my head. I'm going to combine the coefficients. So negative 7 multiplied by 2 is also negative 14. And then I know it's going to be y. Add the exponents. 8 plus 8 equals exponent to the 16th power. Done. Great. I didn't have to write that one down because I've been practicing, but just double check. That is how we got the answer. Look, it even shows the 8 plus 8 for the exponents. Write the product in its simplest form. Whoa, we've got 9m5n3 multiplied by 3m2n2. I'm going to have to write this one down. 9m5n3 multiplied by 3m squared n2 equals, I'm going to separate out the coefficients. 9 multiplied by 3. And then I am going to put all of the variables. So I've got m5 multiplied by m2 multiplied by n3 multiplied by n2. Combine, multiply the coefficients. 9 times 3. Hey Siri, what is 9 times 3?
9 times 3 is 27. 27.
27. Don't want to make a silly mistake in my math facts. So there we go. M5 times M2 is M7. Remember, we add the exponents. 5 plus 2 is 7. Multiplied by N3 times N2. We add the exponents. N5. Now I put it into factor form, which basically means eliminate the multiplication symbol. 27 M7 N 5. Whoa, let's see if that makes any sense. 27 M exponent exponent 7, and then I gotta get back down to the base number there by pushing the down button on my keyboard. N 5. Oh, in exponent 5. Let's see if we're correct. Yay, done. I am not good at math. I am not cheating. I am just going through the steps, practicing the process. So this explains how that works. If you need to pause to write this down and practice, I highly recommend you do that. So that way you can solve these problems. Moving on. Write the product in its simplest form. All right. So I've got negative 5AB7 multiplied parentheses negative AB squared, close parentheses. So equals, combine the, or multiply the coefficients. What is negative 5 multiplied by negative 1? Okay, a negative 5 multiplied by a negative 1 should be 5. Negative 5 multiplied by negative 1 equals 5. If I paid $1 every day last week in the past, how much did I pay? I paid total $5. Wording it that way makes sense to me. I hope it helps you. So we have now we have 5, because a negative 5 times a negative 1 is a positive 5. We bring down the variables A, B, and we add the exponents. 7 plus 2 is 9. We eliminate the multiplication symbol and put it into factor form. So we should have 5AB to the 9th power. No, the exponent of A is wrong. Try again. The exponent of A is wrong. 7 times 2, we add those, should be 9. Okay. I'm confused. I don't understand. I wonder if I can put help. That doesn't help. Okay. Clear. Let's try it again. So on my paper, I have negative 5AB to the 7th multiplied by negative AB squared. I'm going to break down the coefficients again. Negative 5 multiplied, by negative 1. So negative 5 multiplied by negative 1 should be a positive 5. Okay. And then multiplied by AB, since they're the same, we should be able to leave them together. 7 plus, or sorry, Yeah. Plus the AB2. So that should be adding, should be 9. So I'm a little confused. So I'm going to put the answer again. A negative times a negative should be a positive. So 5AB 9. Oops. Exponent 9. It says it's wrong. Let's check the answer. Negative 5 multiplied by negative 1 is 5. Okay, they separated out the variables. This is A times A, and this is B times B. So they broke it out a little bit more. Okay, because, and here's what happened. The A, I'm not really sure, but it looks like I didn't do the exponents for the A correctly. So when we break it out, we have to break it out a little further than I did. So that's okay, that's how we learn. So the correct answer should be 5A squared B to the 9th. Okay. 5A squared. How do I refresh that? Okay. All right, I guess I'm moving on. 7U3 V3 multiplied by 3V squared. Write the product in its simplest form. 7U cubed V3, also the V3 means cubed, multiplied by 3V squared. Holy cow, we're gonna have to break this down. So that equals, let's do the coefficients. 7 multiplied by 3. U multiplied by U3. I don't see any other U's. Multiplied by V3. So V3 multiplied by V2. All right, so 7 times 3 is 21, multiplied by U3. Combine the V3 and the V2 by doing the product of exponents. So multiplied by V to the 5th. Now we want to put it into that factor form. So 21 U3 V5. Okay. 21 U to the exponent 3 back to down lower or down to the baseline. I messed it up. Okay. And then U3 U to the 3rd. Oh, I already have that one. Sorry. U3 V5. Oops. Exponent 5. I don't know what happened to my exponent there. Okay, try again. The answer is correct. This shows how I walked through that process. Write the product in its simplest form. Okay, time to flip over the paper because I've been using a lot of scratch paper. Write it down. -7 m2 n7 multiplied by -3 m3 n parentheses. So we multiply the coefficient, or write down, separate everything out, sorry. So -7 multiplied by -3 multiplied by m squared multiplied by m to the third power multiplied by n7 multiplied by n, and it's just a 1. Okay, -7 multiplied by -3. For the last 7 days, I have spent, so negative money out of my account, $3. How much did I spend altogether? $21. That's a positive number, even though I spent it. Total, I have spent $21. Multiplied by M2 plus 3 multiplied by N7 plus 1. M2 plus 3 is going to be 5 to the 5th power. And N7 plus 1 is going to be n to the 8th power. So we should have 21m, putting it in factor form, 5n8. Whew. I know that's hard to do without watching. I'm going to fix that in one of my next episodes. Okay, so we've got 21 m to the 5th power, down low, n to the 8th power. Great, I did it correctly by following these steps. I had to break it down. I highly recommend you break it down and try your best to keep everything in a straight order, so that way it doesn't get all crazy for you. These are going to get more difficult, so this practice is super helpful. -7 m n 5 multiplied by -n2, or to the squared or second power. -7 m n 5 multiplied by -n squared, put some parentheses around that. Okay, combine the coefficients. -7 multiplied by -1. So that's going to be a positive. M, it doesn't have another variable to multiply by, so M1 multiplied by 0, I guess, but that'll be weird. So we have M1 multiplied by M1, I guess. That's going to be a little weird. We'll have to check how they figure that out. Multiplied by n to the 5th power plus 2. So we should have 7m n 7. 7m n to the 7th power. Holy cow, I got it correct. So this gives you an example of how that happened. I believe 1 times a 0 is supposed to be 0. So how we still have a 1 here is one of the things that confused me. But when in doubt, you can use a calculator. So let's look at exponents in the calculators. Exponential notation. So we could do, what was it? It was m to the exponent 1 multiplied m to the 0. So on here, what would be the equivalent? Let's say 5 exponent 1. So we know that should be just be 5 multiplied by 5 exponent, what was it? 2. Is that right? Oh, 0. Exponent 0. I don't know how we got an exponent 0. Enter error. So it's saying an error. I don't know how that works. So let's try to move on. If it's confusing, we'll try to fix it. Write the product in its simplest form. Scratch paper time, -3 c cubed, or c to the 3rd power, multiplied by 5x to the 6th power. Write the product in its simplest term. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. It still says I'm recording. Okay, never mind. Belay my last. So we're going to do the coefficients first. So -3 multiplied by 5. And then the variables multiplied by c cubed multiplied by x to the 6th. -3 times 5. So for each day of the week, I spend -$3. How much will I have had taken out of my account? -3 times 5 is -15. Remember, you can use calculator soup to check that kind of stuff. C3 x6, because there's nothing to reduce there or simplify there. So let's say it is -15 c cubed, drop it down, drop it low, x to the 6th power. Done. Oh, I got it right. The variables are different, so you give the product in factored form. So this becomes the factored form, is about as simple as we can make it. We can't do anything else with that. Congratulations, I've completed the tutorial. There are lots of resources here to mess around with to try to help you. So now, before I finish this lesson, which has taken quite a while, I'm going to do the application. This practice is so valuable, folks. It's so important. So, press piece of scratch paper. Come get it. Get as many pieces of paper as you need. So the application is the practice. Okay. It is not giving me a slide narration. Review. Polynomials contain only one term. Oh, polynomials that contain only one term are called monomials. Just as monomials can be added and subtracted, they can also be multiplied. If the variables are the same, multiply the coefficients first. Then multiply the variables by adding the exponents. If the variables are different, give the answer in factored form. Here's your chance to apply what we know. Okay, so I'm writing this down on my paper. Negative y to the 5th power multiplied by parentheses negative 7y to the 3rd power. What's the first step? Multiply the coefficients. We only have ones in the coefficient place, or they're not there. Either way, we can't do that. Next, combine. Oh, sorry, we do have coefficients. It's an implied -1 multiplied by a -7. A negative times a negative is a positive, so we should have 7y, add the exponents, 5 plus 3 is 8. Should be that. 7y exponent 8. Correct. Again, here's how the steps worked out. I almost forgot that part. Negative times a negative is a positive, multiplied by y to the 5th plus y to the 3rd equals 7y to the 8th. Great job, everyone. Thank you for your patience and going with me. Write the product in its simplest form. 6x to the 4th multiplied by 4x to the 8th. 6x4 multiplied by 4x to the 8th. I'm going to combine, multiply the coefficients. 6 multiplied by 4 equals 24. I am going to combine and then use the product rule for exponents and add the 4 plus the 8. Should be 24x to the 12th. 24x to the 12th power. Done. Great job. Yay. Walks it through. 4 times 6 equals 24. X to the 4th times x to the 8th. We use the product for multiplication of exponents, and that's how we add those up. So we get 24x to the 12th. Write the product in its simplest form. Same steps. 8y to the 7th multiplied by 6y to the 7th. 8 multiplied by 6. Hey Siri, what is 8 times 6? 48. And then y is the variable. Combine the variables by adding the exponents. 7 plus 7 is 14. You got it. All right. So it should be simplified as 48y to the 14th power. 48y to the 14th power. Done. Holy cow. The more I practice, the better I get. Multiply the coefficients, then multiply the variables. So the coefficient is 8 and 6. We multiplied the variables to get, the coefficients to get 48. Then multiply the variables. Y to the 7th multiplied by y to the 7th. We follow the exponent rule, and 7 plus 7 equals 14. Simplest form. That's as far as we can go without knowing what y is or more information. Uh-oh. What's going on here? What's going on here? Okay, I guess I have a different problem. This looks weird right here. Okay, so same thing. I don't know if I can do this one in my head or not, but let's talk through it real quick. We've got 9 times 7, which should be 63. There's a neat hand trick. You put down, not so when it's 9 times 7, you put down the first 7 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's on the left hand or the left side of the finger is 6. That represents the tens place, so it's 60. And then the numbers that are to the right of the finger are the single digits or the ones column, so it's 63. 63 combine, see? And then combine the exponents. 7 plus 4 is 11. Oops. Exponent 11. The more we practice, the more better it is. Check that out. That's all I did. Write the product. Uh-oh, how come I can't go back? I don't know. But product, do I know what product means? So watch this. Product equals the answer to a multiplication problem. Okay, cool. So I'm looking for the answer to the multiplication problem. Write the product in its simplest form. I might not be able to solve for B or solve the problem, but I can write it in its simplest form, and it's talking about the product. Product being the answer to a multiplication. So 6B5 multiplied by 9B8. So 6 times 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 54 based on my finger math. And that's a neat trick that I didn't learn until I was already a teacher. So, what did I say? 6 times 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 54. B, add the exponents. 5 plus 8 is 13. So it should be 54 B exponents 13. Done. I got it. Yay. Here's the steps. Check out the steps. We're almost done with this. Write the product in its simplest form. I'm just writing it down on my paper. 7x 6 y 3 multiplied by negative 7 y squared. Yep, I'm still recording apparently. Hopefully this works. So we compare or combine like terms. 7 multiplied by negative 7 for the coefficients is going to be negative 49. 7 times 7 is one of the few math facts that I remember because Joe Montana was number 7 on the 49ers. Okay, so we've got 7 multiplied by negative 7 equals negative 49. A negative times a positive is a negative. And then we have x to the 6th. We have nothing to compare or do anything with for the x to the 6th, multiplied by y to the y squared, or y cubed, y squared. So that should be adding the 3 plus the 2, should be y to the 5th. Put it in factored form, 49x6y5. Let's give it a shot. One of the cool things about this video recording is if you need to fast forward it because of my excessive talking, you can do that. I won't have my feelings hurt, mostly because I won't know. 49x exponential 6, lower, bring it down, y to the exponent 5. No, the coefficient is incorrect. 49 is not correct. Hey Siri, what is 7 times 7?
The answer is 49.
Hey Siri, what is 7 multiplied by negative 7?
The answer is negative 49.
Oh, negative 49. I forgot the negative. See, we all make mistakes, folks. So this shows you how the math works out, how you get down to here where you're going. If you didn't understand it, write this down. Put it in your notes. Keep a track of it. Write it down. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Write the product in its simplest form. Similar idea. 5 times 5 is 25. M7 plus m to the 1 is m8. N times n squared is going to be n1 plus 2. So that should be n3. Type it in, 25 m exponent 8. And, oh, nope, I do that every time. Little mistakes like that will cost us n to the 3rd. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3, yeah. Uh-oh, that wasn't as an exponent. Here we go, 3rd. So there's 1 here and 2 here. That makes n to the 3rd. Great, I got it correct. Here's those steps. Pause them if you need to. Write the product 3b6 multiplied by 3w8. Gotta write it down and flip over my paper. I use a lot of scratch paper, friends. (3b6) multiplied by 3w8. So 3 times 3 equals 9. B6 W8, because there's not the same coefficient on each side other than the 3's. I believe that's about as simple as it can get. Factored form. 9b exponent 6. Bring it down. W, bring it back up. Exponent 8. Holy cow, I'm doing great at this. Again, wonderful, beautiful explanation. The variables are different, so give the product in factored form. So there wasn't much I could do except for multiply the 3 and the 3. Everything else has to stay the same because they are different. All right, I got 15 out of 16. Save and exit. Okay, so that is multiplying monomials. Now it is time to take the mastery test. If I do not pass the mastery test, I'm going to go back through the tutorial to unlock it if need be. If I don't pass it after 2 times, I'm going to ask my teacher friend, for help. Here we go. So I'm going to stop the recording now. Good luck. Don't forget to reach out if you have any questions. Remember, your progress based on your practice.